Hello everyone.
Hello. Hi
Hope you're
everyone.
good. It's the official first episode of the Space to Elevate, which is a new rebranded podcast
Ooh.
created by me. Ola, thank you for tuning in. So quickly, why we're here, what's a Space to Elevate? It's a place to create, connect, share, get inspired, just basically get us all together in one place and see what we can do all together, and get that connection going.
Yes.
Support each other as well a little bit in the internet and hopefully in real life too.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to invite people that I've met on my journey, probably in a dance studio, probably.
Yeah,
That's how
most
we
likely.
usually meet.
Most likely.
And just take this experience of learning from each other just outside of the studio and have a little conversation about the journey of every person that I meet and what's good, what's bad, what we need more. Just have a little exploration of our thoughts.
Of course. I think it's needed. I think it's needed as well.
Definitely. So me and Raj met in Manchester at a Reform workshop.
Yes.
Really check out Reform. It's created
Yes.
by Shai and Emily.
Yes.
They're doing a great job. They're trying to expand what learning process is and just add a little more to it. Just taking teachers that can offer more than just movement, more than just choreography. They bring different things. I brought a little bit of self-development lately. David brought a little bit of musicality and music education. And I think every teacher has something that they pull that are pulling out from the pocket that you don't even know.
Yeah.
So it's super nice because you didn't even know what you're gonna.
Oh, we had no idea, and to have more than just physical training, to have more than just doing drills for like 5 hours was something special and something different. I think it was nice to have it from different teachers and like just to find out more about the teacher's background, more than just what they do in the studio and what they do in their personal life and like what their background in. It was very, very interesting.
Love it. Check it out. Make sure.
Check it out. Sure.
So Raj, could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, about your dance journey?
My dance journey started. I took my first ever 8 count probably like 3 years ago, and I fell in love with dance. I kind of like started doing it as a hobby. I just enjoyed going to these dance society at university, and then I just started taking more and more dance classes. Started falling in love, and then literally took over my life. I couldn't stop dancing. I was dancing every single day, whether it was on Steezy, on CLI, in studios. I kind of did most of my dance journey through COVID and through like lockdown. So I learned a lot from online training. I spent so many hours on Steezy, so many hours on CLI, on anything that I possibly could, because studios weren't open. So I kind of used what I could to my advantage, and that's a lot of where my training came from. And then as soon as lockdown was over, I threw myself into absolutely anything and everything I could because I hated being by myself. I'm such a people person, and to be training by yourself, it was painful. But we did it anyway to keep us happy. But I just needed people. I missed hugging people and like touching people. Like I just missed connection. So as soon as I was over, I threw myself into anything and everything I possibly could. Started teaching in Birmingham. That's where I'm based. I'm teaching around in Birmingham. Got my own limited company in Birmingham, alongside teaching a weekly slot, and then doing gigs like going on tours and like music videos and films and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a very like fast-paced 3 years. I feel like I jumped into the dance industry, not knowing anything, and then everything was thrown at me within 3 years. And I'm surrounded by people that have been doing it for their entire life since they were 2 years old. And I'm just trying to catch on and cling on to everything that I can, but I love it so much, so it doesn't ever feel like it's work. It just feels like I'm learning so much and I want to do more.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I would never, like, when I saw it, I would never say, like, you started 3 years ago. I thought you, like...
People think that I've always been doing it since young, but it was literally... I was always a creative child. I just never knew dance was a thing. Yeah. And then I joined university and I studied fashion at university, and then I just joined the dance society out of interest. And that's when it started. And that's when I took my first 8 count. I couldn't catch anything more than 3 moves. And I was hoping for the best. Wasn't bending my knees or anything. Didn't know what heels was. Yeah. And then I every single day trained so hard because I just saw so many people thriving in a space where I wanted to be. And I was like, I need to be there. I want to do exactly that. So I did everything I possibly could to get there.
That's so amazing. And what kept you motivated during COVID to keep training at home?
Because the pure joy that I got from dance, it kept me going. I was lucky enough to have a dance studio in the accommodation that I was living in. So
Nice.
I was there at 4 a.m. learning how to do cartwheels, or learning how to do handstands, or learning how to, oh my god, like so many people that follow my Instagram watching me go through a whole journey learning how to fish roll. And it was a painful experience. But like, I would just occupy myself for hours on end. Like, it would be 6 a.m. The security guard would walk in and be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Like, he's just watching me do it like 57 times trying to get the perfect video. Like, it was just fun. So many hours passed, and I just loved doing every single part of it. And because I know that there was so much more as well. Like, I just found everything interesting, and I just was excited to just go into the studio the next day and do something more.
Amazing. Was there any moment when you started feeling something different that is just fun?
I did. There was a lot of challenges. In respects to like feeling like, because I started so late, I feel like I had so much to catch up on, and I always felt like I was less than, or I was like struggling to like get to where I wanted to be. But I was never a person. Well, I was lucky anyway for the 3 years. Like it never like stopped me if I knew that there was something I need to fix. Like for example, ballet. Or like my technical and classical background, like as soon as I knew that that's available to me on Steezy or CLI, I jumped on it immediately.
Wow.
So I was a problem solver. I was like, if I'm upset about something, or if I'm like anxious about something, I need to do something about it. I'm not gonna sit here and be sad about it. Literally the hour after, I'll be like, I'm downloading Steezy and doing ballet. That's kind of
how
like.
How did you find out? How did you find Steezy?
It was all over my YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
YouTube adverts were literally shoving it into my face, and then I just had to like give in and finally sign up.
Fine. Okay.
Like fine, okay, I'll do it then. But yeah, that's kind of what kept me going, and I just love doing it.
Nice. That's amazing. Especially like because a lot of people are like, oh, COVID like stopped them, but I feel like COVID made you.
Oh
do
yeah,
it. So
it was. I think I saw so many people struggle, and I did go. I think it was the second lockdown where I did struggle. But I kind of just didn't dance so often and prioritise a different side to dance, like my nutrition and like my health and like my ballet, like just doing like my like pliés and stuff in my room. Like I wasn't doing anything crazy. I just took a different route to dance that wasn't so physical. But yeah, I was always connected to dance in some sort of way, whether that was a health way or whether that was a nutritional way, whether that was like a classical way, something I was connected to it because I knew that was what was going to bring me joy.
And how do you find the experience of class, like with other people?
I love it. I thrive in a class scenario. I thrive from people and sharing energy with people. I adore sharing energy with people, and I just love people. I love people. People love, and I just appreciate different energies and different people and like different stories and stuff like that. And being in a class, you get to experience that and share that with people, which I value so much.
Nice. That's amazing. I sign underneath 100%.
I sign it.
Definitely. There's nothing I can add because like for me it's the same. But was there anything in the class etiquette or classes that you've been to that you were like not sure about, or something that you didn't really like about it?
I think one thing that like I noticed after training at like studios for some time and training with the companies is the cliques or like the groups that you kind of just feel like you wouldn't fit into, or like you kind of like stem away from. Like I don't know what it is. It's like the judgment behind it. Like whilst everyone says I'm not judgmental, you can feel the difference between someone watching and then someone staring. Yes. And like there's a very, very fine line, but you can feel the difference. And I think it was that like I knew how uncomfortable it was to be watched like that. So anytime I go to a class, I'm screaming and shouting to the top of my lungs to whoever's dancing, because they need that energy and it helps them perform better. So I think I was kind of like traumatized by the feeling of someone just staring and not saying anything, and now I overcompensate by screaming and shouting with whoever I can.
Nice. I feel like that's the feeling we all get, like even in the form of audition, you know, like that's exactly what we get. You get people just like staring at you and not even like
the reaction, not even
and
smile.
you're just literally like pouring your heart and trying to like show you how much you
and they just barely even blink.
Literally, and you don't even know if they're looking at your dance or if you're like if the hair color matches the opposite or whatever.
Exactly.
You know? So how did you find a way to overcome it, or just like learn to live with it, because you know you cannot really change
Yeah, you
people.
kind of do just learn to live with it. I I just started being selfish. I started being selfish, just celebrating myself, like doing whatever I can to just celebrate myself. Honestly, yes, because I spent so much time by myself in lockdown doing dance by myself, it worked in my favour because I never felt unsatisfied if I wasn't getting validated by other people. So I never was like craving for validation from people. It was nice to have it. It was nice to have people shouting and screaming, but it was never a loss if it didn't happen because I was dancing for myself. I was performing for myself. I was performing for my growth. So just using that knowledge that I got from lockdown and dancing by myself, like it should be that feeling that I feel when I dance in the studio, even if no one is screaming.
That's awesome, definitely. And it's nice that you also had this, you know, like you were by yourself and you could like get that feeling, like you're just really happy to be able to do it and just, you know, just keep training even if you're by yourself, because we always say like the dance is a thing that you want to do with people, but your personal relationship with dance is also very important.
And it teaches you a lot to dance by yourself. It teaches you a lot. It makes you realize a lot of things as well when you're like when you're training in studios. It just makes you, it teaches you a lot about how you teach yourself, how you train yourself, your methods of learning, and like the techniques that you use. It teaches you a lot, which you can then add to the way that you take class in studios and add to the way that you take class in companies and stuff like that.
100%. Sign again.
Sign again.
So when it comes to dance in general, is there anything that you feel like the dance community needs more of?
Communication, for sure. I don't think as dancers we talk enough. I feel like we spend a lot of time dancing next to each other, which is absolutely incredible, and I'm absolutely here for. I sign underneath that too, but we need to talk more. The communication is lacking because we only see each other within a performance aspect. We don't see each other as person, like as people. We see each other as like dancers and like peers, and like we miss that connection. And because dance is such a personal thing, it reflects so many people and their personal beliefs, and it's so personal. We need to have that personal connection, otherwise you won't understand someone's story. You won't understand why someone did this. It's nice to have that understanding, and having that understanding just helps you grow with people and like talk to people and just form relationships. That's why we're here.
Yeah, but like it's 100%. Like we sometimes think about dance very sporty, so like we're very on the physical, which is understandable 100%. But it's an art, and we're facing so much criticism that is very subjective. So it's not really like, okay, you're either gonna run like the 60 meters in this time or you're not. It's very like, this is what you have to do. With dance, it's so subjective, and there's so many opinions. There's so much we need in our mindset to be able to deal with it, or to understand why we're doing this. You know, to like the reminder of why you're doing this is so important. Like on we should remind ourselves why, like every day. You know.
Exactly. Very true. Very true.
So these conversations, like I sign again, because this is something, especially nowadays when there's so much noise from outside. We feed our brain with so much visual and other people's thoughts as well, and we kind of like take them on rather than like speak out and listen to ourselves.
Yeah, very true.
You know, even when we talk to just answer rather than like really listening to what we have to say. Yeah. And what other person has to say. You know, sometimes we need to give the person space for them to feel comfortable.
100%.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. That's something.
I hope. And I'm like, okay, it's needed. I'm gonna do more.
No. I think it's something like this as well, where people get to hear dancers just talk about dance, or like talk about dance that isn't like, okay, now you need to be in fifth position. It's not technical stuff. It's the lifestyle, because dance is a lifestyle for so many people. This is our life. We go day in and day out. It is something to talk about, and it's an experience that we need to share, because it can get quite lonely in the dance scene where you kind of like are just watching people do all these things, and you're kind of just like, okay, maybe I'm doing it right, maybe I'm not. Yeah. But because it's so subjective, the communication needs to happen just to make sure that like everyone is doing the right thing.
I think there's one thing that I also realized a lot of times, that as soon as you're in a room with people, right? You're there because you're all dancers. As soon as you speak out and as soon as you start the conversation, you're starting to see how many people are on the same like have the same problem or facing the same things. They're on the same boat.
I am signing with such a big signature on that.
Literally, and it's so like that connection just jumps like 7 levels because we step into the room with all this baggage, and sometimes we think like, oh, everyone's gonna watch us and like have judgment or whatever. But a lot of times they're thinking the same thing.
100%.
But we'll never know until like we open our mouth.
100%. Recently, there's been like quite a lot of issues within the Birmingham dance community. And I spoke up on my story about it, and the amount of people that felt lonely or felt like they couldn't speak up because they felt like they were on their own like side, and like people need to start the conversation just so people realize like we are all in the same boat, and so many people are dealing with the same thing, and there are people to help you, and the more like people communicate, the better it will get. Whereas if we just all stay silent and kind of just keep it to ourselves, problems won't be solved.
100%, and I feel like. When we did the Manchester workshop, we did a little like self-development things, and we had a lot of beautiful conversations. And I think once I left you guys, that didn't stop.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, there was something that happened between everyone when you started conversation. You started to understand the person a little bit more. So I could feel the energy that I left was like more like this. More closer. Yeah. So it didn't like. You didn't just leave the room, like you had a deeper conversation between each other.
Yeah.
And I think like that builds these relationships between us a little bit.
Because when we take class now, like it is just an hour and a half, and you dance next to this person.
Next to the person.
You barely know their name, but like you've hanged around for an hour and a half, and you probably see them next week again. But like you don't know anything more than that, and like we all share beautiful stories and beautiful backgrounds within dance, and it's something that could help us all if we spent more time talking about it.
Yeah, I think there's also a stigma in dance that you can only talk about like the good things or like the, you know, what you did and your 100%. Credits and, you know, all these incredible stuff, where it's like, this is an outcome on such a long journey going through shit.
Going through a lot, 100%.
So I think it's nice to start hearing and just sharing. That's why I want to push this as well. So we talk about the hardships and shit that we go through, you know. Of
course, 100%, I agree.
And try to encourage, because especially in London, there's a lot of pressure because here is where the work is. So everyone is trying to play the game a little bit. Yes. You know, you have to do it because obviously you want to work, you want to be the product that they need. So you have to be able to play the game. But how can you do it with keeping like the most authenticity within yourself as well, 100%. And don't get lost? I've been through these moments when I was trying to just follow what I thought the blueprint was. And ended up being just in the middle of like, where am I? What am I doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, literally. And I think I want to definitely stand up for people to be like, it's hard because sometimes we see a person doing a job that we would really love to, and I think that's, with me, it's a connection with music. When I see someone dancing with certain artists that I'm like deeply connected with, I'm like, I really want to do this, like I really want to dance with this artist, but I know the journey towards it is not meant for me as well. Maybe I'm gonna get connected with this artist, but maybe differently, you know. And it's hard to believe in that in the 100%. Moment, you know, because you see people doing it in right now, but the more you stay connected with who you are, the better you're gonna
100%.
get the outcome.
And as a dancer, like you are a brand yourself. You are representing yourself, and honestly, like I've learned this in the past year, like being yourself is the best selling point, right, compared to anything else.
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to dance like these amazing stars. You are gonna dance like yourself, and you should run with that, because hopefully. I hope so anyway. But like that's what people will recognize you for. They're not gonna recognize you for dancing like XYZ. Like they're gonna recognize you for dancing like yourself, and that's what's gonna be celebrated. And I think discovering yourself, finding your pathway in dance. Like there is no blueprint to dance. Like you make your own blueprint, you build it from scratch, and you sketch it out yourself. Like that's what it should be. It shouldn't be a case of trying to find the answers. Make the answers.
Boom.
Make the answers.
And I think here we're going to do a little cut, and we're going to start with a part 2. Alright, welcome back, part 2 from the living room. Nice. So I wanted to also ask you, that's very interesting for me as a teacher, obviously, as a student, when you take class, what do you look for? What's important for you?
Authenticity from the teacher. I need to believe them, and I need to see like the passion within them. I don't want them to just teach me steps. I want them to teach me meaning. I want them to teach me like their story, and I've learned that from taking classes from a lot of teachers. I want more than steps. I want more than just choreo. I want an intention behind it. I want a meaning behind it. I want to know where this came from. I want to know more. And just also like a teacher that is isn't ahead of themselves, like hasn't put themselves on a pedestal, and also treats themselves like a student. Like I don't believe in a teacher being on a pedestal and the student being down here. I feel like we all work it together, and that's what I kind of find in a teacher. I want to be able to connect with them in a mutual level, learn so much from them, but not have to like idolize them in any way. I've lost I don't believe in idolizing people anymore, because it makes it unattainable. It makes it unachievable. I believe in being inspired by people and aspiring to be like them, but I feel like everyone's on the same boat, and especially when it comes to dance, because once again it's so subjective. Like everyone's on the same boat, whilst like the genres are different, your background is different, where you train from is different. Like you can't idolize people. You kind of like want to be inspired by people, and I kind of learned that in the past year, and that's what I kind of find in a teacher. Making
You said anymore, so when was it changed that you were like, oh no, I cannot idolize people?
It was last year, and I think I left from a very, very toxic studio, and I was thinking about that studio quite a lot, and after leaving the studio, that's when I realized like that's what a bad example of a teacher is. Because they showed so many like points of what a bad teacher is, where it comes to being like unsupportive, or like the idea of tough love, and like a lot of toxic things that come from a dance teacher. I just learned a lot of things on how not a teacher should be, and then came across teachers that were like, oh, okay, this makes more sense, this is where I feel more comfortable, and just started finding more people like that.
That's true. Definitely. I'm also against like idolizing people, because we're human first before we're dancers.
Exactly.
And I find like this happens a lot in the dance industry as well. When you see that choreographer, when you see that person that you watch all the time, it's like for us like superstars, you know. And again, it's a human first. I'm always saying like go talk to them like they're just a person you met on the street, rather than a person they've been watching for the past 3 years
100%.
on your Instagram. And I think also what's important with these people is, if you have someone, for example, that's like great at the style. So for example, I'm a hip hop dancer, right? So this is my preference style. And there comes a dancer who's phenomenal ballet dancer.
Yes.
And they're intimidated by me because I'm such a good hip hop dancer. But I'm like, I'm intimidated by you because such a great ballet dancer. So it doesn't matter. Like everyone has their strength, everyone has their values.
100%.
So you can never really put us as dancers on the same
100%. Because I've had the same experience. Like I'm surrounded by a lot of hip hop dancers, and my strength isn't hip hop. My strength is heels.
No.
But then hip hop dancers are intimidated by me being in heels, because they're like, I could never be in a pair of heels and be able to do what you do. Whereas I'll look at them and be like, I could never do what you do. Like we're all in that same boat. We all have our strengths and our weaknesses, which is why we can't idolize people, because our levels are different.
100%. A lot of times my students come to me like, oh, I look like a mess in your class. I'm like, wait until I come to yours. Don't worry about
Very
it.
that, 100%.
And it's just being okay with the fact that you don't have to know everything.
You don't have to be amazing at everything.
It's nice to be versatile, and it's great to train towards it, but it's not a thing that you have to be great at everything.
I learned that because I'm a Leo, and like I'm a strong, like I can be great at everything. Like I'm a strong lion, like I am gonna be great at everything.
Yes.
I learned that like you can't be great at everything, and it's absolutely okay to be like not great at everything, because everything's a learning curve. If you want to be great at something, go for it, but it's okay.
100%. Imagine like you're a dancer and you get great at something and you just stay there forever. That's the worst.
That
can
boring.
happen. Exactly.
And what even is great in a dancer term? Because like I can't like, yes, we have our Brian Freelans and our Yanis Marshalls, but what is great, because they probably are inspired by people that happened before them. So like the idea of great, once again, is so subjective. We can't put a measurement on that.
And even if you're a great dancer but you're a shit human,
then it's all gone. Then I don't care.
It is on the minus.
It's on the minus. That's not great anymore.
Yeah.
I agree. I've met a lot of like dance artists that are like incredible dancers, but then as soon as you meet them as people, you notice they're not great people, and I feel like that's such a downfall, because imagine having a great personality and a great dance at the same time would be incredible, but I've met a lot of horrible people that are incredible dancers, and it's just unfortunate that that's what comes with it.
I think that comes back to what we said at the beginning, that we do a lot of physical training, but we forget about the human.
The human that's inside us.
Train the human.
You know?
Train the human to be a good person, because we are so like on the race to get somewhere. So sometimes when you're on the race and you close like everything around you, become this like just crazy driven person that doesn't care about anything and anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know how people might receive them, because they want to be received for their talent.
Yes.
Which is fine in one room, but in another room,
then what?
If non-dancer come to you and you're just gonna be a shit person, like.
Nothing.
And the one thing I've learned in life as well, you never know who you're gonna meet where.
Oh,
you never
100%.
know how people are gonna influence your life and what's gonna happen.
100%.
So being like putting the good person face just in one room,
it's not gonna
makes
work.
No sense.
It's not gonna work because you don't know who you're gonna
Yeah.
meet. I like learned that because I used to do modeling like around 3 years ago, and I had it drilled into my brain that like the road is my catwalk. I don't know who I can run into. I don't know who's gonna be out there that can book me a job. But like, you can meet amazing people from a random. You were at a cafe one day, and I just happened to get the same drink as you, and all of a sudden a conversation started, and you learn so many things. You don't know who you're gonna meet, and I think just being a nice person to anyone, like you can get so much from them.
And you don't even know what that person has connections with.
Exactly.
That's the things that always come from nowhere.
Oh my god, the amount of jobs that I've gotten just from a bit of networking rather than my actual ability, like it does so much more for you just being a nice person.
And also what you said, networking, a lot of the people like are scared of it, but it's just making connections.
It's just talking.
Yeah.
You're just talking. Like you're just talking to people.
Literally. And you don't have to come up with something to talk about, just be nice.
You just be nice.
Yeah.
And then you'll find connections within the conversation. And
That's
if it's not
always gonna be
working.
received.
Exactly. I agree. I think networking is so important because networking, especially within dance, like it has got me so many more places than me having to prove that I could do ballet in a room. Like networking and just being a nice person, being a memorable person as well, like that's got me so much more than having classical technique or anything like that.
Could you say a little bit more about what do you think memorable hard-word person would be?
A memorable person, I think, once again, comes from being yourself. Because you are not going to be like anyone else. And I think I'm quite memorable because I'm very, very outspoken. I'm very much loud. Like my energy is I'm very loud. Like you'll know that I'm in the room because everyone can hear me from all the corners. But like I think just being memorable, whether that means like an outfit that you're wearing a different colour, or wearing your hair differently, or wearing just something, being memorable, just having something to connect back to. So when the teacher thinks about, oh, like who was in that class, they'll be like, that guy in the blue joggers, or that guy that had the cool hair, or just it makes you memorable. And then when it comes to like a time that they're like, you just want to remain in their brain, because if let's say they have a job and they need someone that has incredible hair, you've got it because they remember that guy with the cool hair at the back of that class. So I just think it's like being memorable is important because it gets you places. I mean, you want to remain in people's brains.
This is such a great advice, because I heard a lot of dancers thinking like, how can I get agent? How can I get into the audition? I'm like, start from everyday life.
Yeah.
When you go to class, don't hide or don't wear the same old t-shirt. You know, or just look like you just woke up.
Yeah.
If you want to be a booking dancer.
Be presentable.
100%. And it's like, I know people are going to be like, but I'm just going to train. That's okay, but you're going to have to understand that this is where you're going to train. But if you want to get places, and if you want to play the game, be yourself, do it within who you are and how you feel comfortable. But add a little zhuzh.
Add a little bit of sauce to it. And like,
same thing as you add to your dance.
Exactly. And like, especially when you're like an open class dancer, when you visit a lot of open classes and you're not inside a company, like the idea is to stand out. When you're doing performances at the end, you want to be picked out.
Yes.
And the people that get picked out are the people that stand out.
Yes.
And sometimes not even the people that have the choreo down. It's the people that show up confidently with the cute outfit on our point in the center. Like, when you're an open class dancer, your goal is to stand out, and I feel like people shy away from that. Unless you're on an audition and they ask you to wear all black, probably don't wear a pink tutu. But go to Ola's class and wear a pink tutu, and I trust you. Ola will remember you. Ola will remember you.
Forever.
But
you all know, like, if you know me, I am, like, first and foremost, quality of the movement, like, dance, like, skill is super important. So it's not like I'm saying, take away from that. But just add on top of it. Because even if I have, like, a teacher, if I have 50 people in class, it's so hard for me to see everyone. 100%. It's just hard as in like a human being thing to do.
You can't look at that many people at the same time.
Exactly. So if there's 3 people that look almost the same, and I'm picking the group and I'm thinking there's one girl, but then I see 4 people looking the same, I'm like, I'm not sure and I don't want to pick, I'm just going to like stay away from it because I don't want to make a mistake. But if I'm going to see you and I'm going to see the big tutu, if I'm going to see the joggers or something that just like stayed in my head, I'm going to directly go to this because obviously it's such a short class to remember everything and everyone and every face, and it's like it's really hard as a teacher as well.
100%.
So if you help the teacher, that's the plus for you.
Exactly, you're helping the teacher make decisions, and I trust you. Everyone hates making decisions in life, and the teacher has already seen that pink tutu and will put you in the center.
And they want to help you, but you just in between of the group, and they don't know.
Exactly. I think it's a great thing, and it's helped me a lot. Because it's helped my social media and stuff like that. Like, people remember who I am when I'm in a room, which is great because then they'll repost me, or like they'll talk about me. They'll talk about me to this friend that suddenly has a job. That's like, oh my god, I have a job, and they need a pink tutu.
Yeah, but it's like you said. Whenever I'm trying to like get dances for something for a project, like I'm scanning my memories. I'm scanning who's coming to my class, who is like on my WhatsApp chat, who is on my Instagram. I'm scanning all these things. So even if your talent is just in front of me all the time, I'm always gonna remember that. Of course. But sometimes it's just we meet so many people and they're like, these people are busy. Like, you have to scan everyone, and it's hard. They might like forget about you, and a lot of times we think about it that it's personal, but a lot of times it's not.
It's not. They just forgot.
Yeah.
Like, they just forget.
Just that, and
so don't let them forget and wear a pink tutu to class.
Imagine someone actually comes to my class.
Yeah, someone's gonna come with a pink tutu to your class.
I want to also ask you, because I feel like you radiate confidence. I have that that I don't know, like it comes out from me. So I think confidence it's a hard topic when it comes to dancers. Like it's easier to like blend. It's easier to not stand out because you're not faced with the critic or anything. So, what would you advise people when it comes to confidence?
With confidence, it is. I think a lot of it came from just discovering your own style and discovering your like personal journey. Like, heels is what like brought it out for me. I discovered heels. I was like, oh my god, I love being in a pair of heels now, and I love dancing in a pair of heels. And that just became my personal style. It's just finding things that you love and then running with it as fast as possible. If that means your favourite colour is blue and you want to wear blue to class every day, do it. Like, it's just simple things like that. Like, simple things that make you happy, just run with it as much as possible. And I kind of did that with, like, heels and, like, my style and stuff like that. Like, I kind of just ran with things that I love. And then as you do that, you kind of discover more and more about your personal style. Honestly, just spending more and more time with yourself and just spending time with things that make you happy, you're only going to learn more about it. And confidence just came alongside that because you come to a point where like you can't let outside opinions question it because you're so confident within yourself. I'm so confident within my style and confident within being in a heel that if someone has got a question about it, it doesn't faze me because I'm so confident within it. Like, I love it so much that nothing can faze me.
100%. And I think it's that just love and
it's
passion.
Just that love and passion. 100%.
I think that's what happened to me recently at the audition when I went in. Something switched. I think maybe because there was so much space, it was just 20 people, so I already could like have a chance to show what I do. I wasn't with like 500 dancers and just having zero space whatsoever. So I think that already gave me a lot of confidence because I could do it. And then I think like the music and the choreography and everything, I just wanted to show how much I love it. I didn't want it to show what I can do anymore. I just wanted to show that I love it
I love
so
it.
much
Yes.
that you're gonna love it. Even if
That
you're not
you're
gonna
gonna-
book
yes.
me, you're gonna understand how much I love it.
You're going to understand how much I love it. You're going to remember how much I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you love it because
That's
I love
the
it so much.
thing. Just how you make people feel.
Yes, and dance is about that. Like, literally, the pinnacle of dance is making people feel something. So
Yeah.
you're going to be dancing to an audience. You're going to want to make them feel happy or sad or emotional, whatever. It's about making them feel something. And if you can make this director in front of you feel something, trust you, they'll remember it because that's what they want. That's what the goal for dance is, to make someone feel something.
100%. I say 100% like somebody
100%. Sign.
100%. Sign.
100%.
These are the words for today.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how important it is to remember that how you show passion and show love for dance through what you're doing. You don't try to prove anything. Even in a training room, in every room, the more we show the love and the passion, the more everything else is gonna speak through.
100%.
That's the best thing you can do.
Honestly, passion, like, if you really love dance, nothing can get in the way. Like, if you form that relationship with dance and just form a strong relationship with dance, nothing can faze you because that's what makes you happy. Even if you miss out on audition, you can still dance tomorrow. Like, if you miss this job, you can still dance tomorrow. Like, there's so many things. Dance is always going to be there to make you happy. Don't, like, run for a job. Don't, like, make a job the end goal. Just making yourself happy. If that is dance, just dance.
It's dance. Just dance.
If it's dance, just...
I was thinking about a person yesterday asked me a question about seeing myself in the future and if dance is still there. Something around that question. And I was like, for me, first is the music. The music always gonna be there. So as long as the music, there's gonna be dance.
Yeah.
Maybe as I'm 80, maybe I'm not gonna do as much.
Maybe I won't be doing a cartwheel.
Maybe. Some Fresno's like
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, as long as there's gonna be music, there's always gonna be dance. And I think to have that vision rather than like how long is gonna be my career or when my career is gonna finish or whatever. There's a lot of people that ask me like, is it not too late? I'm 20 something. Like, is it not too late for me to make a career? You can make a career at any freaking year.
Yeah, 100%. And like
any age.
with like dance as well, the industry is massive. Like, there are so many jobs. You don't have to be on tour with Ariana Grande. Like, there are so many gigs before you get to that point. Like, there are podium gigs where you don't actually require any ballet technique or anything. Like, there are so many things for you within the dance industry, but you have to love dance first. And honestly, if you love dance enough, you'll take anything because it will never feel like a job to you. It will just feel like a good time and you're getting paid as a benefit.
Yeah, don't take free gigs.
Don't take free gigs. Don't take free gigs.
Respect yourself.
Respect yourself.
Respect your training.
Yeah, respect your training.
That's it. Like, let's respect how much we put into training and time and sweat and everything. I think that's the case.
Yeah, and you know what? It's exhausting because you will be underpaid. Dancers get underpaid all the time. There are so many stories going around on social media now about dancers being underpaid. But respect your worth. If you've been putting that much work in, put down a price on it and say, this is my price. If you don't want to accept it, I can still dance tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like, literally 100%, I can still dance.
Yeah, I think, especially here in London, I can sense that pressure, especially because you see your friends working, especially you see people doing stuff, and obviously there's a lot of support. I feel like there's a lot of support here. I think that's what's different between the industry. I feel like in my country than here, that I feel like everyone's on their own hustle here, and there's not really time to sit and
Yeah.
It's just more kind of like everyone does their own thing. Or if they have, like, we all have opinions, and I always say it's good to have an opinion as a dancer.
100%.
You know, you're not meant to love everything and everyone and everything is beautiful for you.
No.
We're human, like, we like things, and I feel like the more opinions you have about dance, about what you like and what you don't, the better, because you know what your preference is.
Exactly.
You know what your style is, and it doesn't mean like be a prick about the things that you don't like.
It's about different
perspectives,
different opinions. It helps you to learn more. Rather, it shouldn't be a bad thing that people have different opinions. It's a good thing because that's more for us to learn.
In the same way, people don't have to like what I do.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be their cup of tea.
Exactly. I could hate hip hop, but here I am, sat with Ola.
Dance connects people.
Dance connects people,
Even
and that's
if you
it.
don't like the same things.
Exactly. Dance is so big, and once again, it's so personal. You have your own journey. You love it however you want to love it, and I'm sure someone else will love it too.
I feel like that's such a nice thing to like go to
Just
the end,
go
you
to the-
know? Just we just nice just round it up, you know? I think we spoke about so many different things, which is super nice, and there was a lot of good points of like, I think I would say just believe in yourself and understand you, have conversations.
Yeah.
The human part, like super important, what we mentioned. That's what I'm gonna keep cultivating here
100%.
in my living room.
Yes, in the stunning living room. But yeah, I think just confidence and believing in yourself. Like, dance isn't about the gigs. It isn't about the jobs. Dance is just moving to music. And if you just simplify it to that, nothing can faze you. Nothing can disappoint you, because dance is literally just moving to sounds. And if you love doing that, that's all you need.
And for all of you to know as well, Raj said he's dancing 3 years. But when I went to Manchester and I was teaching, he was in the first line, just sweating his ass off, asking me so many questions.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yes, you know, I could feel your energy. And me as a teacher, it gives me like, okay, cool, they're with me. They want to know. They want to push me. They want to squeeze everything from me. And I'm like, take it.
And honestly, like when I was in that class, I was like, my weight is off. I'm leaning to the wrong direction. My left and right, I don't know them. Like, I'm struggling and I'm hoping for the best. But like, I love doing it. And I'm sure, like, Ola wasn't there, like, oh, he's asking another question again. Like, the teachers want that. Teachers want you to ask questions. Teachers want to teach. That's literally what they're there for. So, always ask questions in class. Try and be that annoying person. Honestly, never hesitate from asking questions, because I think the teacher always appreciates someone asking you a question.
If you're ever in a class with me, you probably, 99% I'm going to ask a question. You're going to hear me and you're going to see me in class. For sure.
Oh, 100%.
For sure.
I ask all the questions I possibly can. All of them.
Yes.
Because first of all, also, like, it starts with a conversation, and if it's a stupid question, everyone will laugh and everyone will remember me. So,
Yeah.
like, I think it just be, once again, communication. Just communicate. Be as, like, not explicit. Be as...
Expressive?
Expressive? Sure, we're gonna go with that one. Sure. But as expressive as you can, like, just communicate as much as possible, because the more, like, open you are about things, the more people understand. And the easier it will be.
Yeah. And it builds, like what you said, that connection between people in the room as well. So, like, it stops becoming, like, side to side and we're only facing this way, we only talk this way.
Yes.
It kind of opens up the conversation.
100%. 100%. And you want to open up that conversation, because if you ask that question, I'm sure there's probably 3 other people in that room that's probably thinking the exact same thing. So ask the question if you're in class.
Yes, definitely. And if the teacher is getting annoyed, leave. No, I'm kidding. No, I think teacher is there for asking, like
100%.
answering question and being there for you.
However, I say this, like, there is a limit to asking questions. Like, if you can find the answer yourself, and there are ways to find answers yourself, please do that too, because I know, even teaching myself, like, you can, the questions can be a lot, and, like, obviously talking within class can be a lot. So if you can find the answer yourself, do so. But if you've got a really good question, ask it, because the teacher would appreciate it, and everyone else would as well, the people that are struggling with that question too.
Boom.
Boom.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was so amazing, and I feel it was so nice because I posted on Instagram, like, who just wants to come and chat. I think you were one of the first people who were like, I would love to.
I was like,
Let's
me
go.
too. Because I knew I was coming to London this week. I was like, and then you happened to post that. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. Me.
Yeah, and I hope more of you are gonna feel
Yeah.
comfortable, because this is what it is. It's not really like, I had some questions in mind, so we kind of went with it as
Let's
you
see what happens.
just flowing through it, and just want to encourage you, because I know it may be scary, like, what am I going to talk about with her, la la la. Don't worry.
Don't
I'm
worry,
gonna
she's not
find
that
something.
scary. She's not that scary.
I hope so. Guys, like, I had to get over myself to record this, right? Because my podcast was only like just me talking.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could be in my pajama, I just woke up. But now I had to, like,
And
make
actually
myself
get ready.
presentable, get ready, show my face to you. So I'm
Yeah.
also overcoming a lot of barriers with doing this. But I have a mission, and I feel like the reasoning for it is very important. So even me, I have to get over some things and, get through the barriers to to make it happen.
Everyone's a human. Even Ola Papio is a human being.
100%.
Aren't we all?
All my days. The realest human being.
I know, the realest human beings that you've got. But yeah.
That's the goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honestly, it was beautiful. And I think I can't wait to hear more about this. I can't wait to hear more conversations. It's really needed in the dance community. I think
Awesome.
it'll do amazing.
So hopefully you'll come.
Yes.
And see you next time in my living room.
Yes, see you next time in the living room.
Thank you.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Awesome.